Okay, so we're going to do a quick review of all of the courses that I played in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania area, even including some in New Jersey and New York State. I was thinking about doing a top 10 list, and then I just really thought about it. I said, you know what? There's just too many courses that I want to add that I really liked, that I found that I liked, and I want to talk about. There's just more than 10. So what I ended up doing was just going through them all and rating them on a simple scale of green or yellow. And I'll talk about them and break that down a little bit more detail. The green is basically courses that I would like to play again, certainly. Look forward to playing again, maybe more than once. The yellow courses are courses that I really didn't like. I might play them once more, maybe somewhere in life. But they're somewhere between meh and nah, I'm not playing that course again. I really, don't want to play it again. Now, I'm going to admit that this is biased to some degree by the fact that I've played some of these courses a lot of times, some of them a few times, and some of them I liked and I've really enjoyed playing them more than once, and some I haven't played enough. I've played them once or twice and haven't played them enough, and I would like to play them a lot more. Some I might want to play a couple of times more, and some I have played enough for my lifetime. I really have no desire to go back there and play them again, and some I maybe wouldn't mind playing once or twice more, depending on who or the circumstances are. So I want to walk through them quickly. There's a lot of courses. We're talking about 75 courses here, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on each one. I will just basically say a few words. And starting off with Oak Creek, that was a discovery this year. This is more upscale, certainly more expensive course. I'd say it's on the level of Raspberry Falls or so in terms of price. But definitely a good upscale course. Goose Creek, played it, done it, been there. No real interest in going back, plus it's noisy. Played it more than a few times, honestly. Bay Hill, a decent discovery, nice neighborhood woods course. Not overly expensive, but a decent place, nice clubhouse. South Riding I thought was okay. A big sort of farmland course. Nice big hitters course. Okay, a little noisy in places, not bad. Westfields is more of a sort of a country club place, more of a lanes, wooded course, not too tight, certainly has obstructions, certainly is not cheap to play, but not a bad course, certainly backside is nice. Maple Run is your really basic neighborhood woods course out in the middle of nowhere. Although it is kind of open in a lot of places and it is kind of basic in some areas, I really wouldn't say it's all that much of a course. Clustered Spires, very same vein, next to an airport, annoying, definitely an okay course in some places, an average to below average courses in others. Blue Ridge Shadows, more of a amusement park thrill ride than a golf course, to be honest. Very few of the holes in this course are what you would call normal, or even beginning to be normal golf course holes. A lot of them are just exercises in golf gymnastics. Certainly a good course, though. Greendale, small neighborhood woods course, a little bit expensive nowadays compared to what it used to be. Certainly hard and slow to play on the weekends in Virginia. Maryland National, big open prairie kind of course that has some difficult holes, has some good lanes, wood holes, and overall, I think a good challenging course, although it is a little noisy next to Route 40 in some places, and it does get to be a little expensive. Redgate, okay. Another old neighborhood woods course, which is really kind of like Bay Hill, but I think that Bay Hill is a better course. But I call it the same sort of genre as Bay Hill. Neighborhood woods course, convenient to Rockville, not really much to say there, but if you want to play golf and you're in Rockville and you don't feel like going far, there it is. Pine Ridge is kind of the same thing in Timonium or Upper Baltimore, but it is bordered by lakes all around. Very nice course, looking for views off the water. But otherwise, I really think it's kind of a mundane course. It does get a bit repetitive, but it is a good challenge. Cameron Hills Golf Links, while I did give that a green, it is closed now. I think that there's a petition to reopen it, but I don't think it's going to reopen. It's in the middle of nowhere in Kings George, and it is a very challenging course, but there's really just not much of a market there, and there are a lot of other courses in the area that are probably more publicly suitable, like Golden Tee. Montclair, very challenging neighborhood woods course, but a little bit run down. Certainly the 15th and 16th, well, the 17th and 18th fairways are really kind of ratty, but it's a decent course, very good challenge. West Park, a very small, sort of a mini course, a solid challenge of golf, a lot of good water holes, but still, I'd have to say it's 4,500 yards from the back tees. It's a shot maker's course, very challenging course to play, but I really wouldn't really call it all that great a course, although it does have some nice holes. White Plains, a course which has been surrounded and swallowed by building in the area. Otherwise, it's a nice course. It generally tends to have short grass, unfortunately, but it is a good challenging neighborhood woods course. Raspberry Falls, I thought, was overblown, expensive. Another flat course, woods, flat open bangers course, sort of like South Riding, with some holes on it that are very nice, challenging and good looking, and nice tee shots in number 18, for instance. But overall, I think a bit overblown and certainly over expensive. And certainly the first tee is really in a bad position, right behind the clubhouse. Worthington Manor, I haven't played it. Looked okay, looks good. Looks sort of like a nice short clone of Whiskey Creek. Certainly wanted to put it in there. Twin Lakes, okay course. More, again, sort of an open bangers course, but not too open. It's got some good views of the lake and some good water holes and some good tree holes. But overall, it's really kind of packed and slow on the weekend. Certainly Gauntlet, nice lake course, a good challenging course, good technical shot makers course. Does have some length to it. And I think it's a good layout, and I think it's a very unique style of golf to play there with a lot of verticality. Very good challenge of golf. Windcoat, I like Windcoat to some degree, but I didn't like it in others. I think it's a little bit too wide open, a little bit too flat, a little bit too much waste away from the fairways, and a lot of wind when it gets windy, and it's very hard to play that course when it gets windy. Old Hickory, should say. Sort of the opposite, sort of a neighborhood woods course that's lanes type wood course. I think it's a little bit too noisy, too many houses, too many road noise, too much things going on, but not a bad course overall. It's okay if you can play it and it's not too noisy. Bull Run, very good course, very good condition, but still kind of okay. The 9th and 18th approach shots, very good challenge, but overall this course kind of does get a little bit repetitive, and it is kind of blah in the sense that you do see the same kind of shots a lot. Andrews, I just say there's a good trifecta of courses there. Nice, moderately difficult courses if you can get on the course. The problem I gave it a yellow was because it is so difficult to get on the course. It is not impossible, but it's certainly difficult. Little Bennett, good verticality, good challenge, certainly challenging rough. It does play well. I think it's a good course. West Winds, I thought that was a fun short course, nice verticality, neighborhood woods course. East Potomac Park, probably played that a few too many times. Very flat, very packed, and very slow on the weekends. Twin Lakes, Oaks course, a much more interesting version of Twin Lakes, but still neighborhood woods course in a sense. A lot of road noise coming off, I guess it's the side roads coming off around there, certainly Lee Highway, but it's still a good course. Blue Heron, sort of a beginner's cheap course just over the bridge in Annapolis or Ken Island, from a Ken Island on the Ken Island side of the Bay Bridge. Not bad, but basically it's cheap, and your basic call there is the $15 plus a cart. Very short course. Pennybrook, another overblown, expensive neighborhood woods course with way too many houses around it and way too much traffic and way too much noise. All right, take 2, Bristol Manor in Bristol, Virginia. Now this course is one of those courses that you kind of forget what it's all about until you think about it for a while and you go, oh yeah. It's okay. I mean, I really thought that it was a decent little rustic neighborhood plains, flat course. Decent hitting, not bad, but the road in the middle really kind of ruins the course. It does kind of take half the courses out of the equation in terms of enjoyment. Stonewall Golf Course in Gainesville, down on Route 29. A very nice course, nice clubhouse, nice food, nice course. A very challenging hitters course that does challenge your shot making a little bit. Some of the holes on the front side are unfortunately bordered by houses and bordered by road noise. And certainly, I think about 2/3 of the course is excellent, and the other third of the course is okay. Definitely, I would recommend playing this course to get a chance. Wetlands in Aberdeen, a decent course, though somewhat moderately challenging. It's okay. It has some nice approach shots, very nice into some of the shots in the front nine. And I certainly think that on the back nine, there's some decent shots, but the back side is really kind of bordered by these neighborhood houses that can get a little bit loud and rowdy. And it's not a bad course, and it's in a decent location, but it is kind of up there on the north side of 95 heading into Pennsylvania and Delaware. Shenandoah Valley Golf Course, nice 999, challenging course in a sense because they do let the rough go really long here, but it's kind of a square layout overall, and it's okay. It's kind of small, but okay, not bad. I would say it's an upper yellow. Richland course that is nice except for all the traffic on Route 40 passing by, sort of like the middle of the course, and it really does get noisy there, and you just have to say it's like a good short cheap version of a Windcoat without the long rough, but still too much road noise there in the middle. Walden, it's okay neighborhood woods course. Lots of traffic there through the middle of the course, and it's okay. Lots of houses on the backside, and it's really kind of blah on the backside, but it still has some decent houses. I like the number 10 tee shot though. That's always a good challenge. Poolsville, very flat, wide open kind of hitters course. Greens are just nasty on this course. Very bumpy and fast, and there is some road noise coming on the backside around 15, 16, 17, and 18 that you have to deal with. Otherwise, nice little course, nice walk in the park. PB Dye, it is a decent course. Usually requires doubles to get on if you're going to book it on Golf Now, but you can walk on for a single. I think this is a good course. I just think it's sort of like it has a sort of a cap to it. It's okay, a good challenge, usually pretty quiet. It has some great holes like number 11 approach shot onto that green, the par 3, very nice. And certainly number 10, that dogleg, nice course. It just is okay. The problem is it really isn't outstanding. It's a good course, but I wouldn't call it outstanding. University of Maryland Golf Course is sort of a anomaly in this series because it is such a different course to just about every other course here. It isn't a woods course. There's some road traffic on it on the backside and on the front side also, going 8 and 9 and 17 and 18. But it's a good course, good long players course, especially from the back tees. But it just has a little oddity to it in terms of the grass and those, and almost all of the approach shots are uphill to elevated greens, and very nasty combination. Rock Harbor Golf Course, interesting kind of an idea that had some merit to it, some nice tee shots over water, but it doesn't quite come off correctly. It isn't quite done right, let's put it that way, but I still think it's okay, and certainly a good location there on the outskirts of Winchester. Kiskiak is one of those courses out in the middle of nowhere towards Newport News, an hour east of Richmond, and it is a decent course. It does have some good holes. It also does have some very mundane holes in some ways. Some neighborhood woods course holes in some ways, some big old hitters holes in some ways. I think it's worth a couple of tries. I wouldn't call it all that great. Lake Presidential, I think it has the potential to be a great course if they ever get it back in good condition. Some of the holes are certainly overburdened by houses, but not many of them, and it has some really nice approach shots in some of the holes. I really like that course. Hobbit's Glen, I thought it was overblown neighborhood woods course. A little more to say about it. Pretentious, precocious, expensive, and hard to get on. Golden Eagle, out in the middle of nowhere. Again, out Route 3, halfway to Newport News, but a decent neighborhood woods course. Nice, relatively quiet course. Nice, flat, relatively flat, but good shots over water. Very nice course. I definitely enjoyed the playing. And Forest Greens is one of those tough vertical neighborhoods, not really a neighborhood, but a woods course with a lot of lanes. Some noise from 95. But a good challenge of your golf game. A good solid challenge. No question about it. Swan Point. Let's see how we're doing here. Swan Point. I'd say about 2/3 of this course is very tough. And a third of it's fairly easy. It has some interesting water holes. It is way down there by the Route 301 bridge, though. It's about 2.5 hours out of D.C. But still a good deal if you can get it on Golf Now. I usually can get it for about $10 or $15. Maybe $20 on Golf Now is a good deal. Fort Belvoir, Woodlawn, and Gunston. Nice woods lanes courses, decent length, decent challenge, good shot making courses. Definitely worth playing. A little challenging to get on, but certainly worth playing if you can get on it. Virginia Oaks. I thought it was okay course. Had some interesting shots. Definitely an interesting track. A little rundown in places. The 18th Green 18th approach shot is certainly a challenge. So is the number 9. And I think it's a good course. It just could definitely be in better condition. And it is a little goofy in places. Enterprise, another one of those beginner courses that has some verticality, some challenging tee shots in some ways if you're a beginner. Certainly a few if you're a decent player. But other than that, certainly nowhere near the $50 that they want to charge for that course now. Certainly right up the street from Oak Hill. I mean, if you're going to pay that kind of money, go play Oak Hill. It's a much better course. Lee's Hill, a decent course, decent neighborhood course. Certainly has a fair amount of water. Nice little clubhouse, decent good food. But again, is it worth $50, $60? No. Let's see here. General's Ridge, sort of the opposite of Lee's Hill, in that it is far more verticality, far more challenging shots, far tougher lanes to play in, and is cheaper, and is, I just think, a better track all around, although some might say it's just too much of a golf course for most people. Get past the first few holes, and you will have the time of your life playing this course. If you enjoy thrill rides, you will love it. Timbers at Troy, sort of not too upscale, expensive, a little bit upscale neighborhood woods course. It is certainly a decent course, but I think it just doesn't quite reach the level of a course like let's say Raspberry Falls, but it's close. It's not bad. Brambleton, I really abhor this course. It's a flat waste of money in my opinion. It has some decent holes on it, but in general it's just straightforward, straightaway lane bangers hitters course that just gets boring fast. Fairway Hills in Columbia, Maryland. I think this is a much better alternative than Hobbit's Glen if you're going to play those two courses, considering they're right down the street from each other. Much better neighborhood woods course. Still a lot of houses, but still a good challenge. Just a much more interesting course to play than Hobbit's Glen. Carroll Park, short sort of Baltimore City course. It's definitely worth playing, and it's cheap. 9 holes. It's certainly worth playing twice, and a good outing if you want a quick round. Rocky Point is sort of like a more normal course, but it's still a Baltimore City's course. Black Rock. The front side is okay. The back side is very nice. Very good course. Very good discovery. Augustine, a very challenging neighborhood woods course that does have some rolling hill shots and is a very good course. And Cross Creek, much narrow, very tight, very interesting, challenging course, which I think is a little bit too tight in places, a little bit too much cover, but still a good course to play. I'd definitely give it an upper yellow. Okay, last but not least, Severna Park Golf Center is really a driving range with a short 9-hole in an L-shaped format on the back side. $5 Golf Now hot deal. It's a good warm-up course, good way to break out of your clubs out of the storage for the winter. Certainly a good short, 100 yards, par 3 series, and a driving range. Not bad at all. On the way, it's actually not, it's on the way to Bay Hill if you're going to play in Annapolis, and not far from Eisenhower. And Potomac Shores, Dumfries. Potomac Shores is, I think, a just sleeper course. This course is absolutely great. It's not quite phenomenal. It's very good. Not quite phenomenal, but a very, very, very good course. It is a challenging course. It does have a lot of long grass on the hills that take away, people who want to cut things and hit sloppy shots. It's sort of like the opposite, is the inverse of a links course. You really don't want to be going up on the hills in this course, but the flat fairway parts are very interesting, very nice to play, and it does give you some good approach shots. I think it's a very good shot, a very good course, very good find, and certainly worth the money. And I definitely would recommend taking a ride down. This is just outside of Fredericksburg on the west side of 95. Very, very nice course, a wonderful find. Great Hope. This course is about 4 hours out of DC. It's a big, flat, wide open hitters course. It's okay. I think it's a little bit too flat. You really kind of can't see the greens and stuff unless you're right on them. But, it's all right. It's certainly cheap, $25. Nice food, nice clubhouse. It's a good, solid drive out past Salisbury, but it's okay. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a great round of golf. It's okay. Massanutten, likewise. This is much more of a challenging players course. Not too long, certainly slopes everywhere, verticality everywhere, some mountain views, some deer, lots of bugs in some places in any kind of decent weather. Some challenging tight lies off the tee. I think it's a great course, and if it didn't have so many bugs, it didn't have these damn cars zooming through the middle of the course, I'd rate it very highly. As it is, I'd rate it sort of moderate to middle good course. Pohick Bay, it's okay. I think it's a lower green, if anything. My big problem with Pohick Bay is that it does get jammed, absolutely jammed during the season, and the season starts early and ends late here. On the weekends, this course can just be unbelievably slow, unbelievably. And then they usually have junior golf too in the afternoon, so like around 3 o'clock. Forget it. You'll be lucky to finish 9 holes on this course. Eisenhower is an okay sort of more upscale version of Rocky Point, let's say. Nice upscale neighborhood, Woods Lanes course. The greens were just in bad condition on most of the holes when I played it, and I was told that was unusually bad for this course, but it has some interesting shots. Nice dog legs, nice verticality. And I think it was a good course to play. And the 18th approach is definitely a challenge. A nice approach there. I thought it was a very good outing, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it too highly, but certainly would recommend it. Cannon Ridge in Fredericksburg. This course is, I think it's on a rebound. It seemed like it was sort of out in the middle of nowhere, but it isn't. It's really kind of just like Potomac Shores, just on the outside of a new community. But the course is somewhat run down and not well maintained in a lot of places. A lot of the sand traps are not quite, kept up, but it has some decent shots. It's a good hitters course, good challenging shot makers course, and it's a long course. I just think it could definitely use some maintenance, much like other courses, like Virginia Oaks, for instance. It could be a much better course if it was well maintained. Like Bethpage Black. Bethpage Black is a very well maintained course in the sense that it's almost over maintained. There's almost too many greenskeepers running around, and in a sense it's almost too mundane of a course for the level of maintenance that it gets. I think it's just not all that great a course, but it's in excellent condition for most of it, and it's certainly overpriced in just to get on a course. If you're an out-of-state player, it's going to be draining you. It's $100 to get on this course if you're out of state, and then they don't have carts on the course. You have to walk the course. And it is not a flat course. It is a long course, and you will be out there in that heat in the summer or even in the late spring and just going hating it. But it's an experience. You got to play it once if you really call yourself a golf player, because that's where the Open is, and it's accessible. You got to go for it. Gunpowder in Laurel, Maryland. It's sort of an old course that's tucked away in a valley where there's I guess the stream. I don't know if it's Paint Branch or the Little Patuxent River that runs through there, and it is up and down, a lot of verticality. It's a very tight neighborhood course with a neighborhood on the outside of the course. Not much road noise at all, but it is really kind of cheesy. There's no question. This is not the kind of course that you'd want to pay more than $25 to play. And lo and behold, that's about what they charge. It's $25 on the weekends. But it is a very cheesy course. There's no question about it. I call it a good, challenging course, but it is cheesy. And so I still have to give it a yellow, but it's an upper yellow. Whiskey Creek. Whiskey Creek is a big version of Gunpowder. Very similar layout, but a much bigger, wider, open hitter bangers course. And a nice course. I think it's okay. I don't think it's a great course. I certainly give it a upper to mid green, but I think it's really just a good course. It's really hard to say much more than that about it. It is sort of my idea of what a golf course should be. Okay, especially a woods course on the eastern coast. Montclair is an unfortunate case of a good course that's been let to go. In many places, the 16th, 17th, and 18th fairways, for example, are really, when I played it, were really ripped up. We're really, in a sense, the biggest problem with this course is it's got too much shade. And it is just a really nice, challenging shot maker's layout that doesn't have the grass to go with it. Let's put it that way. And last but not least, Blue Mash. I just think this is a psychotic disaster of a course. There's some good holes, some okay holes. Not really any bad holes, but the problem with it is there's too much noise. There's way too much noise from, I guess, this Route 210 that runs by it. There's way too much noise from the airport. And there's another course that's near it, which is even closer to that airport. It's close enough to the airport where you're hearing choppers and planes and choppers and planes and choppers on the course pretty much the whole day. It does have some nice holes. I certainly think that about a third of the course is certainly worth playing. But you really need to bring some earmuffs or earpieces or something, because it just has way too much noise. And the last time I played it, they were desperately renovating the course in the middle of the week. The greenskeepers were all over the course, right up working on the green while people were trying to play the course. It was a disaster on several of the holes. I literally cannot support that level of greenskeeper fouling with a decent grade. I can give this course no more than a yellow. Every time I played it, it has been a disappointment. The last time I played it, it was almost horrendous. It just isn't worth the $50 that they charge on a hot deal to try to make up for that. This is the guy who, apparently the manager of this course is one of those guys who thinks they can make up for crappy course conditions with a cheap ticket. It doesn't work like that. I don't care what you charge for the course. People expect a decent course. If you can't provide decent course playing conditions, then don't sell tee times during those times. Don't try to make up for it by cutting the price in half. That's not how it works. Sorry. You're just in it with a bad experience for a cheap outing relative to a much more expensive outing that would still be questionably good if you're going to let your greenskeepers run amok on the course during play. It doesn't work. Sorry. 18th hole when I played this course, I could not even play the green because there was a greenskeeper running a freaking air gun around the green all the time I was trying to play. I just gave up. I literally gave up. If you look at my video, I quit and just filmed him for 10 minutes while he did maintenance on the green while I had a ball on the green trying to play it. It was ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous. And that's the last I'm going to say about Blue Mash, and I think that's a good summary.